Welcome back everybody to the Purple Sector Formula 1 League for the second round of Season 14 here at the Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai International Circuit, as we're here for what's hopefully going to be a very exciting and close contest again here tonight. Obviously Tuesday night we had the season kickoff at Albert Park, and we had the new rising star to the Purple Sector League in the shape of Badman taking the season opener. Just looking down the order here though, Batman, yeah, he's currently on the leaderboard in third place at the moment. But yeah, Batman started off the season in a perfect way. Obviously he took 4 wins from 5 races towards the end of season 13, so he's going to be a contender. But he was joined on the podium by last season's champion Clen and last season's championship runner-up Justify. So he's managed to upstage both of them here in the first round of the season. But Clen so far in this qualifying session, top of the leaderboard, a place which he's quite used to. He was obviously on pole for the Australian Grand Prix on Tuesday night, and he's at the moment on provisional pole here, but he's got some stiff competition from the likes of Ernie, making his Purple Sector debut tonight. I was obviously racing at the Red Arrows Formula 1 League on Mondays as well. So Ernie races quite a lot here on Clegcoms. And Ernie, if you do race on a league on Wednesday nights and need a commentator, then let me know, because I am looking to try and fill up Wednesdays as well, if possible. I mean, it's not a big deal. But Clen coming into the pits at the end of his first run. He's currently in the low 1 minute 33s at the moment after the first runs. Did I see a bit of rain falling? I might have just seen a raindrop falling, or was that, or am I tripping? It does look like there is actual rain on the camera lens there. So it's definitely starting to come down a little bit here. We see Badman coming into the pits at the end of that particular run. So this is going to be interesting now, because the drivers are going to really struggle to find improvements out there. Obviously as the track gets wetter and wetter, you're going to find less improvements. If we're set for a wet Grand Prix, then it could make sense for drivers to get back out there and get some running in, but I can't see the lap times improving at this point. I really can't. It's going to be very difficult for anybody to find time at this point in the session with the track getting damper and damper. So yeah, I mean, this is going to really test the drivers out a bit, isn't it? Yeah, let's see what happens. Justify hasn't really done a convincing lap so far in this session. It's currently 9th place. If the track continues to get wetter, it's going to be 9th place at best here for Justify. That will not be where he'll be wanting to start this race from. I can be absolutely certain of that. But Clen, for the time being, looking like he's got out at the right time here and sits at the top of the leaderboard. We've got Matty coming back out onto the track here on another set of soft tyres, but Justify was half a second down those personal bests through the first sector alone. So Matty's going to find it very difficult here to improve over the course of this lap. One driver I've just noticed is returning after a little while away is Mark. Haven't seen Mark out on the track in quite a little while, but he's currently sat in 4th place at the moment on this leaderboard. Obviously, for those of you who don't know, Mark did actually win here in China last season, in season 13, so he's got course and distance, as I love to say, on this F1 25 game. So let's see if he can replicate that tremendous feat from last season. But at the moment it is looking like we have got some drizzly conditions here, which I'm sure are going to be making things a little bit more difficult for these drivers than what I'm sure they would like. But I'm sure they're all up to the challenge. I know they're all capable behind a wheel. They're all thoroughly decent pedallers, so I wouldn't have thought there'd be too many mishaps or catastrophes going on here tonight. But Mark and Elias have just come out on an outlap here. We've got Matty also on an outlap as well. We've got Drauga just coming out of the front corner, about to start a lap, so he's about to do his second flying run of the session here. And just up ahead of him is Truckee, who's going through turn 1. So those two will be the next two to put laps in. Drauga coming through turn 1. There's Shinigami, who's on a lap here coming through turn 1. And Shinigami obviously made his debut on Tuesday night in Australia, and his teammate Dare Pixel, I think it's called, was also racing on Tuesday night, but doesn't appear to be here tonight. So, oh my goodness me, it's F1 Shinigami, bins it into the barriers just as we were watching him there, coming through the first sector, and he's missing, well, he's missing his both end plates. Oh, Jesus Christ. So yeah, I don't quite know. That's quite an achievement to lose both your end plates and still keep the front wing on. But he's somehow done it. He's lost the front. He's lost the left part of his front wing, or the flap, but he's still got the right flap, and he's missing both end plates. So Shinigami there has done a very measured and calculated trip into the barriers there. Nonetheless, we got Matty. Seems like he's not finding any time here, so that might explain why Shinigami so readily binned it into the barriers there, because obviously the track is by no means dry anymore. I mean, if it was the race, I think they'd still have the dry tyres on. It's clearly not wet enough for intermediates, but with a bit of drizzle falling on the circuit, you're always going to find that there's going to be a discrepancy between the ultimate pace and the pace that you're able to do in these types of conditions. So I fear we may not be seeing any more improvements before the end of this session. So it's very likely that this is going to be our lot here. At this sort of point, back in the day when I used to have the privilege of multiple handheld devices, I would be usually reading out the championship standings, but at this point I have to obviously use the PlayStation on my phone because I still haven't bothered to get a new controller. I only use the PlayStation to commentate and go on YouTube, so I just can't be bothered to get a controller at this moment. I literally just control the stream on my phone using remote play. But that also does mean that I can't do other stuff on my phone during the races, which it's not ideal, I have to say. It's not the ideal situation, but it is what it is. But yeah, I can't really go into can't really go off on a tangent about anything interesting in regards to the league or stuff like that, because I genuinely just don't have the information to hand. But anyway, we've got Batman here currently getting some laps in these tricky conditions. We did see Clen put the intermediate tyres on for a moment, but he didn't leave the pits, so he put some inters on and then thought, actually no. As you can see, the drizzle really having an effect there through that long right-hander, which leads out onto the back straight, because you saw Badman really struggling. To be fair, I think even if I did have the championship standings to hand at the moment, it wouldn't be that interesting, because they only have one race, so the championship standings is literally just the order that they finished on Tuesday night. That's all there is to it. There's no real depth or detail to any of it. So yeah, it wouldn't be that interesting, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But Batman coming into the pits. We see Clen coming back out onto the track here with just over 5 minutes left in the session. Now I wonder if Clen's going to be able to extend his margin here in the wet. Probably not, because as I've said before, the track is incredibly slippery at the moment. So Clen here coming around towards the end of his out lap, and he'll be having another crack at this Shanghai International Circuit in a second. We've got John here coming towards the end of a lap, and he's coming through the final corner now. Let's see if he can. He's already behind his fastest time, so he's not going to improve. But it's a 1 minute 40 there from John, as we see Badman retiring from the session. Clearly he feels that there isn't any more time to be found here. As we see Clen coming over the line, about to start his final run of the session, as he absolutely hacks it coming through turn 1. Oh, it's Glenn there. Got a big snap as he went through the that tricky S section there. We see most of the drivers now retiring from the session, so clearly the majority of the drivers out on track don't feel that there's any improvements to be found in these types of conditions. We see Glenn coming down the little straight, which leads into the final sector, and he's 5 seconds off his personal best, so I have a feeling that he's not going to be able to find 5 seconds in this final sector. So Glenn will be starting from pole, and it'll be 2 poles from 2 races so far this season for the reigning champion. His last season's rival for the championship, Justified, down in 9th place. So he's had an absolute horror show in qualifying for this second round of the season. But Glenn is going to have Badman directly behind him in 3rd place on the 2nd row. And he's also got the newcomer to the Purple Sector League, Ernie, alongside him on the front row. So Glenn's going to have plenty to worry about in the first stint, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to see Justify get in the top 5, maybe even a podium, because we know what Justify is like coming back through the pack. For those of you who aren't aware, Baku last season was a prime example of Justify's ability to sieve through the pack. Went up against it. It was a phenomenal drive from 11th to 1st place, and he actually followed up that feat. Now, later on in that week, went from 6th on the grid to 1st at Singapore, but unfortunately we weren't able to stream it, or we weren't able to broadcast it because, well, I wasn't aware at the time, but the stream had actually stopped halfway through the race, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't get any notification coming up saying your stream has turned off or anything like that. It was just I carried on commentating, carried on yapping away. At the end of the race, thought, oh, it was brilliant, fantastic, really enjoyed that. And when I went to stop the stream, it was still streaming on my end. So I went to stop the stream, and it was still streaming. And so I clicked stop streaming and all that, and then, you know, jumped back in my chair, went onto YouTube to check to make sure it was all good. I wanted to relive the last couple of laps because they were fantastic. And then all of a sudden, I noticed there was nothing on YouTube, and it was just, so it was about a 20-minute stream, and it had just stopped halfway through the race, just like that. And I was just like, what's happened? What on earth is going on? And I realised that it just stopped out of nowhere for no apparent reason, even though it was still streaming from my PlayStation. But apparently YouTube, it wasn't streaming on YouTube anymore. And yeah, I was incredibly upset about that. I was tremendously cross, but it is what it is. It was yeah, a real blow, obviously, for the guys who were battling for that wet race win, but it is what it is. And anyway, the traumatic experience that brought about has led me to, from now on, to always record the races. Don't even bother streaming them anymore because no one watches it live anyway, so I might as well just record it, upload it straight away. Drivers can watch it back, it's in a playlist, everyone's got it there to remember for the rest of their days, you know, it's all good. Right, so that was an absolutely spellbinding qualifying session, and we'll be back very, very shortly for the race. If you want to watch on the playlist, then click on the next video, and yeah, see you in it.